What up? Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. I'm just currently on my Sunday recovery run and I've stopped after 4K because it seems like it's into the breeze the whole way and you won't be able to hear the audio. So hopefully you can hear the audio. Today I'm going to be talking about what I've learned from my marathon time trial where I ran 3:06 and changed 3:06:20 or something. I'm going to talk about what I've learned from that, and I just want to say thank you to everyone that has subscribed recently. I really appreciate it, and we're almost at 700 subs, which is just mental. I can't believe that. And if you are new to the channel, welcome. My name's Tim. I'm kind of documenting my journey on a sub-3 marathon. I'm not quite there yet, but if you want to follow along, if it's something you're trying to do, if it's something you're interested in, yeah, hit subscribe. Like the video. But yeah, I'm going to finish this recovery run and then I'll chat to you back at home and we'll go over what I've learned. And if you don't care for a sub-3 marathon or you don't really care for following along the running content, you can just have a look at this beautiful view that I've got to run in. It's so nice, so you should be able to see that on the channel as well. But I appreciate it if you want to follow the running content. All right, let's get back home. Okay, so we're back home and let's go over what I learned from running the marathon time trial. Firstly, I'm going to say this was on a perfectly flat route. So obviously I'm going to find or have a different experience when I'm running like a city marathon. It's going to be a lot more undulating than what I encountered on my time trial. I just wanted to go out and see what time I could do it in on a flat route, just covering the distance. And firstly, one thing I learned was I don't really have to taper too much before running a marathon. I tapered a little bit of intensity in my workouts, but I didn't really taper the overall volume of the week. So I still ended up doing about a 90 to 95K week on the time trial week. And I felt fine even after the marathon, the Monday after the marathon, which was 2 days after, I was able to start running again quite comfortably. So I don't feel like I have to taper too much. Obviously, before a big goal race, I will taper a bit more. But I don't think I'm somebody who performs better tapering a lot. I think I like keeping the legs moving, and I'm somebody who does recover reasonably quickly. So I think before my next race, I'll probably just taper a wee bit, not too crazy. I'll probably cut the mileage back slightly, and then I'll do my normal race week kind of workouts, but they'll be lower intensity, and I think I should be able to perform reasonably well at a marathon. The second thing that I kind of picked up on was I didn't do any kind of electrolyte loading or anything. I didn't have any electrolytes on leading up to it. It was just a weekend where I was like, during the week I was like, I want to run a marathon this weekend, but I didn't have it in plan definitely. So I was kind of going along my normal training week with it in the back of my mind. On Saturday, I may run a marathon time trial. So I didn't do any carb loading, any electrolyte loading or anything like that. And the only cramps that started to come into play were around 36K to 38K. That's when I started to cramp a fair bit. But it was just the hamstrings starting to tighten. Now, I think this is due to it being a completely flat route and I didn't have as much kind of muscular fatigue throughout the run. And I think that is a bigger contributor to the cramps coming on later in a race is the muscular fatigue. I don't think it's always electrolytes. I didn't take any and I had slight cramping and it was a reasonably warm day as well. So I did lose a lot of fluids. So I think going into Chester, which will be my next marathon, I think I'll take some electrolyte drinks on the days leading up, but I'm not going to focus on that and go hard. I don't think it's going to be that impactful on the overall result. Depends kind of what the temperature's like on kind of that race week or something, but I'm not really going to focus too hard on that. I think the training is the main thing, and you can't kind of carb load or electrolyte load to outperform bad training or lack of training. So I think it's more the training side of things, and carb loading and the electrolyte loading can kind of complement that. And in terms of fueling, I used Precision Hydration Flow Gel, and that was really good. I keep it in this little soft flask that they've got as well. It holds 120 grams of carbs, and I filled it up to about there and then topped it up with a little bit of water and shook it so it was a little bit more like water. And that was quite easy to take on. And I also took a few gels just as backup. Every kind of 5K, I ended up sipping on this and taking about 30 grams worth. I wasn't really focused on how much I was taking. It was just like a few sips here and there. And then once I finished that, I just popped it in the pocket of my half tights, and I used one of the backup gels. So effectively used 5 gels during the time trial. And I think that was enough for the effort I was putting in. I may want to take an extra 1 or 2 on my marathon coming up, but I am considering using this and then taking another 2 caffeine gels. So I'll take a few sips of this, and then the next time I'm taking a gel, I'll take a caffeine one, and then this one again, and then caffeine one. So that would be the plan, but I might just keep using this and use the caffeine ones later in the marathon. Something I'll trial kind of in long runs and see how we go. But all in all, Precision Hydration with the Flow Gel, I think it worked really well. So I'll continue to use that during marathons. Another thing I think went really well was my pacing. I had a friend who came and ran with me for the first half marathon. And then I kind of just went on my own and ran another half after that. The first half was around 1 hour, 34 minutes and 40 seconds. And I felt super comfortable. I was talking to my mate throughout, so the heart rate probably got a little bit higher sometimes, but it was, yes, very comfortable at that time. And then I tried to kick down a little bit after the half marathon point, but not too much where my heart rate would spike. I just kind of eased into it a bit more until about 30K, 32K, and then that's when I started to try and pick it up a slight bit more. And I had the legs to do that, which was, I think, because I took it a lot easier on the first half. And the second half was about 1 hour, 31 minutes and 40 seconds, give or take. So I think, that's a really good second half in a marathon. Even though the first one was reasonably comfortable, I think being able to run a 1:31:40 half in the second half of a marathon, it gives me a lot of confidence that I could maybe do that twice and run around 3:03. Don't know about being able to kind of do a sub 3 anytime soon, but I really just want to focus on pacing my races as well as I can and running the best I can on that day. I'm not too bothered about the end time if I feel like I've run it well. I don't want to go out sub 3 pace, even though Garmin says I should be able to, and then just blow up and end up running 3:20 again when I know potentially I can run, under 3:10 on most marathon courses. Maybe not the hilly ones like Leeds or something like that, but I should be able to run 3:10 quite comfortably. And the last thing that it kind of taught me was that I'm on the right track. Training is going really well, and I feel like I'm gaining a lot of fitness with the way I'm training. I'm going to do another video on Excel and just show how I draw up my training plans. At the moment, I've kind of just structured my weeks just so they're pretty similar, just alternating the workouts and some long run workouts. So I'm not actually in a training block. So I'm not following a training plan or anything. I'm just kind of ticking off the training weeks as we go. And yeah, I do feel like I'm gaining a lot of fitness and getting stronger as a runner. So one thing I've decided is I'm not going to go into like a full 16-week, 18-week marathon plan, even 12-week. I'm going to do around a 6 to 8 week kind of sharpening block before I do the marathon. So it's not going to be one really long block where you feel like you're training specifically for that race for 4 months or 5 months, and then you end up getting to the race and it doesn't go to plan, and then it just feels like the biggest letdown. I'm going to do basically 4 to 6 weeks of long runs with marathon specific workouts in them, similar to what I'm doing now really, and I'm really going to focus on that and then taper for the marathon slightly. So there's going to be no real big training block, and I'm going to be following that the whole time. I'm still going to be running a few races in between the marathon and now, so we'll be able to do some race vlogs as well. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've learned. I could probably talk about this for quite a while, and there's probably a lot of things that I forgot to mention. But they're just a few things that I definitely felt like I needed to mention and let you guys know. Maybe just don't focus so much on fueling and hydration and those kind of things if you're not really putting the training in. Like, you can't carb load a few days before if you've not, put the mileage in and the work in on the weeks leading up. So yeah, that's just something that I've kind of noticed. I've really put a lot more focus on my training, and fueling will be there to complement the race when I go and race. But yeah, they're just my thoughts, and I might be completely wrong, but it's just what works for me. I've learned what I can recover from, which is a big thing with your training. So you need to make sure you can recover from the days to then be able to run harder on your next workout or your next long run that you want to run a bit more up tempo. So but I'll go over that in another video. I'm going to do how I kind of structure my training plans if I was to do a bigger training block. And yeah, we can chat in the comments then, or just chat in the comments of this video and ask questions, or just say what works for you. There's no point having a go at what I do, because what works for me isn't necessarily going to be what works for everyone. But yeah, I hope you did enjoy the video. If you're not subscribed already, make sure to hit subscribe. Come along the journey. We've got some race vlogs coming up, and we're going to run another marathon later in the year. So yeah, I hope you did enjoy the video and you took something out of it. Eventually we will run a sub-3 marathon. I believe in myself. I can, but we're just going to chip away at it. I'm just going to try and run the best I can each race, and we'll go from there. But yeah, that's it guys. I'll catch you in the next video.
Hello. Hi.